All right, and welcome to another Alpha X replay cast. And let's go ahead and jump straight into it. Here at the top left, we have our blue Zerg player, RAGNAROK.
And at our bottom right, we have our red Terran player. It is Team Liquid's Clem.
All right, so if you guys don't know yet or hasn't seen the title, it should be in the title anyway, but this is from the World Team League, the playoffs. So this is for pretty much all the marbles, and they're basically advancing through the bracket. Of course, the World Team League has a different format, and you can all check out the format with the Liquipedia page down below in the description box. But yeah, do you have like a general summary of the format, or?
Oh, it's basically instead of your typical 1 versus 1 format, you've got teams going up against each other, and then every player from every team is going to play a best of 2, I believe. So we are not going up to best of 3s, and then if the players tie, then it's on to their teammates to try to break that tie. And then whoever has the most map scores comes out on top, I believe.
Yeah, and we do have RAGNAROK, who has actually already, I mean, he is not reflected on the scoreboard right now, but he has already defeated Mana and Euthermo 2-0. So right now, Team Alpha X is in the lead. Of course, I guess you could kind of say the best player on Team Liquid is Liquid Clem, and he's up now to play and try to bring back his team down from the hole that RAGNAROK has put them through. But anyhow, first Reaper coming across the map here on Curious Minds.
Yeah, very good initial pullback on both the drones and the Lings, buying time for the Queen to come out and deal with the Reaper. Yeah, but I do want to say what you said earlier. Ooh, actually losing a Ling, which is, realistically it's no big deal, but at this high level of play, we don't expect to see that really too often. But yeah, like you said, RAGNAROK already took out 2 players, and so essentially Team Liquid is down 2 lives, whereas Alpha X has basically all of them. So a very good position for the team of Alpha X, but we will have to wait and see what Clem pulls out, because, like you said, he's a very, very strong player, and not to discount RAGNAROK, but this will be a very interesting series to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And you can also keep track of the life there on the top center. There's a little bit of a bar screen, graphic screen there. So you can see Alpha X got 4, and then Team Liquid has 2. So let's see if Clem can bring that back a bit more even. A little bit of a dance here at the front of the Zerg player's base. However, RAGNAROK was able to establish that third base. Now, looks like Clem is trying to see if he can kind of, keep tab on keep check on the creep tumor. Try to snipe them off if he does see it spawning at the on the larva or on the creep. But so far, no luck.
Now we're going to see a Cloak Banshee follow-up from Clem. It's, fairly standard, but it always is risky for the Zerg, if they decide to cut corners, they don't scout it, which Alpha X RAGNAROK is just about to do. He does see that Tech Lab is researching something, and he does see the Starport producing something as well. So there's a high chance that RAGNAROK will be ready for this with Spore Crawlers. But yeah, for now, it's just, it's on to the Zerg to defend, and then that should be about it. Looks like resources lost are pretty much even. Of course, the Reaper did fall, which means that is an amount of 50 gas that did go down. But yeah, there we go. We do see the Spore Crawlers as well as the double Evo Chamber follow-up. So it does look like both players are going to try to play this out into a macro game.
Yeah, fairly standard TVZ opening here by both players. Nothing too crazy. But we do see a lot of Hellions here, so RAGNAROK's gonna have to make sure to keep his queens in position to make sure there is no Hellion run-bys. Looks like so far he's doing a great job. He's has the Overlord spread, keeping vision on where the Hellions are moving, and just making sure he has some queens here on the left on the dirt base, and some on the more towards the right, towards the natural.
Yeah, like you mentioned, that Overlord spread is critical, especially on a map like this where you can get the creep pretty far on the low ground, but as soon as you reach the high ground, if you stall out just a little bit, it's going to be pretty tough to keep track of the Hellions. Now, Queens are caught a little bit out of position off creep. These Banshees are actually doing pretty good work. They are taking some pot shots, and of course, 2 Banshees can one-shot a drone. I'm a little bit distracted. Somebody just ran behind Clem on his camera. But yeah, it looks like this queen is in a little bit of trouble. 8 drones going down now. This is actually pretty decent damage from Clem, forcing all of the queens back. In the meantime, there will be Lings at the front to deal with the Hellions, but when you're fighting Hellions with Lings, that will never be a good trade. And it looks like these Hellions are actually going to go into the 3rd mineral line. They are not going to get too much done, are they? They do snipe off just a few more drones, and that brings up the total to 16 drones killed, an entire mineral line's worth. So I'm pretty sure Clem is very happy about that right now.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what the Hellions and Banshee are mainly used for, right? In the early game, they're mainly to deal economic damage. They're not really there to get the all right kill, and that's exactly what Clem has has able to do, getting 16 drone kills, setting the economy of Ragnarok further and further behind. And now I mean, granted, Ragnarok is still in the decent, healthy drone count, but that does mean his upgrades and his army is going to be lagging a little bit behind. And in the meantime, Clem is still keeping up the pressure, being relentless, constantly putting pressure on Ragnarok with these drops, 2 medevac full of Marines, and now it's going to head into the main base.
Yeah, this is a really classic Terran move, being very efficient with the units that you do have, and making sure that you're trying to poke and prod the Zerg whenever you can, wherever you can, trying to see whatever damage you can do. Now, of course, like you mentioned earlier, Clem did get very, very good damage done with the Hellions and the Banshees, and every larva that is spent on a drone is a larva that is not spent on army units, so it does actually limit Ragnarok in more ways than just one. Now, if we do see, he does have 75 workers against Clem's 66, which is a decent position, but that is still a good start for Clem, making sure that the Zerg is just a little bit uncomfortable. Now, I do have to say, it seems like Ragnarok is prepping for some sort of push, because his creep spread is pretty far deep on that one front. So it looks like he might try to do a Hydra timing or something like that, a 2-2 timing. And honestly, if he can keep up the creep spread, it is being pushed back by Clem for the time being. But if he does keep it up, it could prove to be really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, looks like we have a little bit of a skirmish here on the top right side near the watchtower. So as you can see, Clem smartly attacking both on the left side and the right side. This is a big map, so a lot of areas to cover. But luckily for Ragnarok, his army composition is it does include a lot of mobile units in those Lings and those Banelings, and of course sprinkle in some Hydralists as well. However, it seems like Clem has been getting a bit of a more favorable trade here and there, and a little bit here, a little bit there. It adds up in the end. So you do see Clem do have the overall supply lead for the time being.
Oh, that's so funny. I've been seeing that kind of glitch at the bottom with the supplies, where it just shows a bunch of symbols. But anyways, yeah, you're definitely right. It's actually not quite uncommon, I would say, for Terrans to actually... Ooh, that's unfortunate. The Banshee does try to come back in, but a Spore was ready and waiting for it. Now, this is going to be a very powerful push. Hold that thought, because there will be 2-2 out for the Terran. So the window of time that Ragnarok is ahead in upgrades is essentially going to be rendered useless, because he is going to be attacked. Now, he will scout this with a regiment of Banelings, which are unfortunately sniped off. Yeah, it looks like Clem is just going to siege up pretty far forward, stimming in with the Marines, targeting down that 5th base almost immediately. This is a pretty scary position for Ragnarok. He does have a Ling run-by to the south, but it's not going to get anything done for now. Oh, I'm sorry, a Bane run-by. The 5th base does get sniped down, and I think some drones are also starting to fall. Overall, this is looking pretty good for our Red Terran player.
Yeah, here we go. Looks like the tank of Clem does a nice job targeting fire on the Banelings there. And now all that's left are these Hydralisks versus these couple of Marines. I think Ragnar will have just barely enough to clean up the rest, but remember, he did lose that 12 o'clock base as well as a few drones here and there, and his Baneling count did reset a little bit there. So Clem, as long as he's kind of trading even, it seems like he should be able to kind of keep his advantage for the moment here. Now, of course, Ragnarok still not out of it completely, although he does have a little bit of catching up to do. He really gonna have to rely on the Baneling connections, but I'm not even sure he has even any Banelings. Only 10 now being morphed in.
Yeah, and not only is it just 10, a very low number, but they're being morphed in right in front, and GG is called. Clem takes game number 1.
All right, and welcome back to game number 2. As you can see, once again, Ragnarok at the top right.
And the winner from last game, it is Team Liquid's Red Terran player, Clem.
I do love these new graphics that World Team League has put up there.
Yeah, definitely. Always nice to see some updated graphics.
Yeah,
Clem looked super solid in the last game. He just, sort of took the lead with the Hellions and the Banshees and then extended it further and further. And that matchup with the Bioterran constantly aggressing the Zerg is perfect for that kind of play because, with every push, with every attack, you get another chance to extend your lead further.
Yeah, that was a very kind of textbook, technical, solid play there by Clem for sure. And it's going to be up to Ragnarok. Now, of course, if Ragnarok can tie up the series, take the win and tie up the series, I believe it takes a point off of or it takes off a life of each of the team. I'm not sure. I forgot the exact format of it. Of course, the World Team League format in the regular season, I'm more familiar with, but once the playoff hits, the format does change a little bit. So it's kind of, you need to get a little bit used to it, or at the very least, you can, of course, once again, check the Wikipedia page for the exact format. But anyhow, well played there by Clem in the last game, as Ragnarok is gonna try to even up the series.
Yeah, I was just about to say in the last game, if Ragnarok just had a little bit more time to hold off the Banelings and, maybe even get the Lurkers out in time, because he did have a pretty high Hydra count, then we would be seeing a different kind of 0-1 right now. And then that would be when Team Liquid is really on the ropes, since they're already down 2 players, and they're also down in this current series. Then I feel like it would be a very different environment. But, I'm sure there are many Team Liquid fans out there who are quite hopeful right now. They're thinking, oh, with Clem, that very cute Reaper micro. Oh, can he get the... Oh my gosh, playing with fire, gets a Ling. Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're a big Team Liquid fan, who knows, maybe this is the start of a big comeback.
Oh yeah, I mean, Clem is one of those players that you can definitely rely on to bring you back when you're down. So I wouldn't be surprised if Clem is able to maybe possibly reverse all kill. I mean, it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
He's that caliber of a player.
Right. It's always nice to see young players engaging at such a high level with this game. It's just such a difficult game, and it's honestly pretty rare to see such young, highly skilled players.
Yeah, it's quite admirable. Well, to be fair, it's quite admirable that he's just that young. I mean, I wish I was that young. I feel like an old man right now. But yeah, it's there's that little myth where the younger you are, the better you play in StarCraft, and the older you get, the slower you get. I guess. Of course, some players do defy that myth, but that's
definitely.
That's a general myth out there.
Yeah, Snoopy, all you have to do to beat Clem is to play Terran and open with Fusion Core. That's all you have to do, and then you will be at his level. I promise you.
Sounds quite easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really see a lot of fusion core openings from Clem, I don't believe. At least from
Right.
my memory.
Right. He's, of course, not going heavy into Hellions, but, still producing them, going up to the 8th Hellion mark. And then I don't think Ragnarok has actually scouted the main. So this BC might be a little bit of a surprise. Now, if the Zerg simply has enough queens, then it's not going to matter, especially if they have Spore backup. And I do believe that Ragnarok does have Spores in place. But it's still going to be pretty tough. As you can see, Ragnarok took the Triangle third, which is going to be easier for air units to sort of go in between the bases, just causing trouble for the queens. And I believe the way that Clem is going to do this is, he's going to send in the BCs as a distraction for the Hellions. But hold that thought, because he might need to do that. The Hellions are just going to come on in, and some of them do fall, but they are going to roast a bunch of Hellions, getting all the way up into the main. Oh no. Okay, so the drones just barely get away for now, but oh my gosh, are they going to get the drones? These Hellions are so low. The queen line has moved up finally, and it looks like the drones, aside from the 7 that have already died, are going to be safe for now. Last Hellion, there we go, finally gets picked up, but some more Hellions at the 3rd base location, pick up an 8th drone, so that was a little bit chaotic. Now, this BC is going to come back in, so I think that the Hellions were sent all the way in as a distraction. But yeah, this BC doesn't get too much done, gets another 3 drones. So in total, it does put Clem ahead in the worker count.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite as devastating as last game with 16 drone kills to start off, but still, it's 11 drones, so it does put a little bit of a dent in the economy and income of our blue Zerg player. And the BC, it looks like it will get out alive, so you can kind of go back, repair it, and send it back out again, and deploy it to kill more drones. However, he's going to have to be careful, because this time around, there is a Spire on the way, which means that there's probably going to be some Corruptors out. It could be Mutalisk, it could very well be Mutalisk, but when you see BCs coming out of the Terran, usually the Zerg player will go Corruptors first, but if the BC count is low enough, there is that option to go for a couple of Mutalisks and just go across the map and kind of surprise the Terran player.
Yeah, definitely. You were right about that. We see 5 Mutalisks on the production tab, which I think is the perfect call. I think that Ragnarok recognizes, hey, my opponent might have opened BCs, but that doesn't mean that they're going to fully commit to the sort of mech BC-based playstyle. And obviously, with Ragnarok's earlier Ling run-by, he did actually scout out a bio sort of army, right? When you see more than like 2 to 3 Marines, then you know for sure that it has to be bio. So I do like the Mutalisk play. It is going to help him clean up things like the Hellions and the tanks, and possibly even some SCVs in the future. But yeah, now I think that both players are just powering up, trying to see what they can do to get ahead in the game. Of course, Clem is still ahead on workers, and he's pushing with these 2 medevacs, and these Lings are going to come in, snipe off. Actually, nothing. The mutas are going to come out and try to see what they can do, but the medevacs do drop out. Ooh, that one muta gets very low on health.
Yeah, very, very close to dying there, but yeah, he definitely wants to save as much Mutalisk as he can, because this is going to be pretty much his attacking army, or the main harassing army for the time being. When you open up with Mutalisk like that, you're not going to have a lot of other kind of higher tier units because of the gas invested into these Mutalisks. So mainly the Zerg has to kind of keep the Terran at bay at home while he harasses with the Mutalisk, while he invests all the minerals into maybe droning up or maybe getting some additional links. Here it looks like Clem is ready to move out though, and Ragnarok, does he have any banelings? It looks like he has 6 morphing in. I believe Centrifugal Hooks has finished, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think you're right. And both players are on 1-1. The BC does teleport out, but now it's onto the bio army. It's onto the main engagement. These mutas are going to fight alongside the queens, trying to hold off the Marines to the best of their ability. But I mean, these are stimmed Marines with 1-1, and Yeah, it's going to be pretty difficult, especially with such a good spread as we do see here. Ooh, the Widowmine gets a huge hit on the Banelings. That is not what you want to see as a Zerg player. Now, some of these Banelings are going to try to stream forward, see what they can do. Pretty decent splits by Clem, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. Oh, I don't know about that. We do see the Widowmines also being blown up by the Banelings. The rest of the Lings do finally get cleaned up, and now it's just Mutas against Marines. So overall, I would have to say that Clem did trade a little bit favorably there. And of course, given his advantage, you know, you don't see it reflected in the supply like we did last game, but it's still pretty significant. Ooh, another couple of Widowmine hits don't actually connect too much, and the rest of the Medivacs and the Marines are going to get cleaned up. That's unfortunate. That Thor is sort of stuck behind that factory. That happens to me all the time. I don't know about you, but that definitely happens to me all the time.
Oh yeah. That happens. I think to a lot of player, or sorry, a lot of other races as well. But mainly with the Terran is more common than not, because you know the building placement is more important. While the Protoss can warp in anywhere really, and then Zerg, of course, they don't really have that problem too much. Although sometimes they do with the Ultralists because they're so fat.
Oh man, Ultras, they're so like, how do you? They have to be so muscular to be able to carry themselves so quickly. Like they just rush, and they're so fast all the time. I don't get it. Anyways. Okay, so Clem does finally figure out, hey, my Thors are stuck behind a reactor. They're going to kill it, move on to the front line. But we do see a bit of a Muta hit over at the fifth base location. Excuse me. They will take care of the missile turrets, but they will be shooed off by the Marines. So all in all, you know, just sort of poking and prodding, seeing what they can do. But what I do like is that RAGNAROK actually did not go for more Mutas, right? He sort of hit an optimal number. I believe that's around like a dozen, I would say, estimate. And the rest of his army is going to be, the rest of his resources are going to be invested into a Lingbane-based army. Now, we do see a Hive also coming up as well. Ooh, that's unfortunate. RAGNAROK actually did not queue up his +2 melee, so he's only up on +1, +2 right now, I believe. But we do see that Hive coming up, and I suspect we're going to see Ultras later.
Yeah, I think Ultralist is going to be the complementary unit for this Baneling Amoeba play. But a nice hit there by the Widowmines. This is a scary time for RAGNAROK. He's transitioning into that Ultralist, which means he's not going to have as much units on the ground. Okay, so he looks like he will spend up his resources. He's going to delay the Ultralist just a bit in order to ensure that he survives this attack.
And will he survive it? We do see, yet again, amazing splits. Mutas are going to try to engage the Thor. Finally, it does go down, but now we have Banelings trying to chase Marines and Marauders off of creep. They do get some pretty decent connections, actually. Widowmine does fire off on one Baneling, and it looks like Clem will actually get cleaned up here. Cute Medivac Micro with the Thor. Ooh, but I don't know if... wait, was that what I think it was? I think the Medivac picked up the Thor and then got picked off. So that was not too good. But anyways, so it's mostly Marauders here. I do like the move by Clem to go for Marauders, but the only downside is that if your opponent is not actually going for Ultralists just yet, your army does actually get a little bit weaker to the Lings, and also in terms of DPS. So it looks like Clem is actually kind of on the back foot for now. SCVs are starting to fight as well. They are going to be pulled off the line. 7 of them do go down, and so far, it looks like these Lings and Mutas are just going to get a little bit more done. Nope, they're just going to head on out of there. And yep, we do see the Ultralist Cavern coming up for our Zerg player. But yeah, overall, that went a lot better than I would expect, I have to say.
Yeah, that is
for the Zerg, sorry.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he was able to clean up the attack near his base, and then also he of course was able to pick off some units here and there, because again he had like you mentioned a bunch of Marauders, which was useless, well, not useless, but not as effective against Lings and Mutalists. And now the unfortunate part is that Clem is now overproducing Marines, and you know, RAGNAROK, he's transitioning into Ultralist, so he's Clem is not going to have as much Marauders as he would have preferred. He's still going to have some, but it's going to be quite difficult because he doesn't have anything else besides these bow units. He does have a Thor in there, but he really needs to add in maybe some Ghoster or something besides these infantry units.
Yeah, overall, it just seems like Clem is not ready for what's about to come his way. We do see a lot of Lings and Banes. You know, just a few streaming forward here and there, trying to pick off whatever they can, setting up for the next wave, and here is where the Mutas are also going to engage. A lot of Baneling connections. Excellent trades by Ragnarok, yet again, pushing the Terran back off of creep, and here we see the first Ultralisk being produced right as Chitinous Plating is about to finish, right as 3-3 is about to finish, and yeah, I think that Ragnarok, you know, this is the point where, well, I was just about to say he was about to build up his bank. A huge Widowmine hit. Thankfully, the second one doesn't go off for Ragnarok because, is this, okay. Okay,
wow.
This is just a whirlwind of emotions, right? He takes care of a couple of Widowmines after the first disastrous hit, and then a Thor comes in to take care of the Mutas. They do back up, but these Banelings are going to bust down the wall. Lings come streaming through. Yeah, Clem again is found on the back foot because his mineral line is wide open and exposed. Banelings are going to roll on through, not really getting too many decent connections. Pretty good splits for the bio, but yeah, the Lings have already done their damage. 14 workers have gone down, and looks like a bunch more are about to be created. Ooh, another Widowmine hit.
Yeah, these Mutalisks taking a lot of unnecessary Widowmine hits, but luckily for them, of course, they can regenerate. And actually, can he get this? Yes, he does.
Oh, wow. A pretty big pick, considering these are just Mutas. Oh no. Okay, those Mutas are one Thor hit away from just being decimated.
Yeah, they're so low in life. But you know what? Even if he lost all these Mutalisks, I feel like Ragnarok will still be able to have a decent, strong enough army here. He's starting to add in those Ultralisks, it seems like. Although it looks like he has stopped producing them in favor of some extra Banelings. And it looks like at some point, Ragnarok is going to go ahead and go for the killing blow, it seems like. But Clem is kind of keeping him preoccupied with all these drops and harassment. But man, this is so much Banelings.
Yeah, that single Ultra is probably their captain trying to say, hey, keep rolling forward, roll faster, try to catch up to those Marines. Look at that stutter-stepping micro. Excellent micro by Clem, but the Ultra is going to come from the back. It's a little bit awkward. We see a bit of a duel between the Thor and the Ultra, and both actually survive. Excellent micro by both players. Oh, but this Widowmine... Okay, it actually didn't catch too many. It caught fewer than I would expect, but the rest of these Banelings are going to come in, try to kill off whatever they can. Yeah, I agree with you. I think earlier when Clem was just trying to make something happen, right? Sending a triple drop to the west side, you know, bringing the rest of his army to the middle, that kind of thing, because you need to be able to split up the Zerg and, you know, tax your opponent's APM.
Yeah, and now we find ourselves at the 18-minute mark here. Still like 200 or almost max out army supply, so I still feel like anything can happen, especially with Clem's micro. But Ragnarok, his army composition is just so strong with these Ultralisks kind of bulking up here, taking up the brute of the bunch of the infantry bullets here, but also dealing out a significant amount of splash damage. Now the Mutalisk cleans up that command center, and looks like Ragnarok is going to go ahead and just retreat for the time being, while hitting at the left side, which is pretty smart because there's actually nothing here to defend. It's quite wide open.
Yeah, I love it when, as a Zerg player myself, when a Zerg hits an orbital and finds any sort of damage, right? We saw that small group of Lings did in fact catch a couple of missile turrets. Ooh, unfortunate though, that Widowmine does actually hit the group instead of just the single Ling. But on the other side, we see a bunch of Banelings taking down 6 SCVs as well as another base. So this is the point, sort of like transitioning into the. Well, I guess you could call this late game, right? Because we do see ultras on the side of Ragnarok. It's just that it's so interesting because Clem has not yet invested into something like Liberators, which would be great for both the ultras and the mutas, or even ghosts, right? And I do say that like the bio is. It's always easy to underestimate the bio, but at this point, look at these ultras. They are not gonna die anytime soon. Now, as I say that, one does get picked off in the front, but I don't know. Banelings are going to make some connections. We do see some ghosts getting very low on health. Is that friendly damage? Was that friendly fire on the Widow Mines?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. GG is called. Ragnarok takes game number 2.
Wow, beautiful play there by Ragnarok. And he will end this series 1-1.